So that is exactly what I did. I went to my bank, and for 6 days I walked around the building once, and then on the 7th day I walked around it 7 times. Now this whole time that I'm doing this round, I am praying. I'm thanking God for my bank account. I'm thanking God for clients. I'm blessing my clients. Oh, good morning, lovely people. I hope that you are staying warm wherever you are, because it is cold here. My hands are very cold. We're dealing with Storm Barbara here in Israel. It's been non-stop rain for a few days. No one seems to want to go out. There's even snow in some different places in the country, so we're dealing with it. But anyways, welcome to this channel if you've never been here, and if you have, then welcome back. I'm happy to see you. I wanted to talk today about something that is not necessarily a passion of mine. It's not necessarily something that's like near and dear to my heart, but it's something that has become important to me by default because of life, and that is the subject of finances. So a little tiny background about me. I didn't grow up with money, and even actually oftentimes we were poor and didn't have much. And for the most part in life, I worked in ministries that don't pay you enough. And not only that, but I don't even actually have like a full education. I've never been in high school, and that will be a story for another day. But all that being said, money for me is important to live, and the more the merrier, because then you can actually use it to give. The more you can give, the better it is, in my mind. So I want to paint you a picture of how faithful God is over time to do great things in you without you even realizing that He's doing it. So I believe that every person has talents. Everyone has something that they can give to the world, something that is unique to them that they have to offer, a voice that is their own and no one else can replicate. And I never really believed that I had that. I believed that that was for everyone else. Everyone had this special thing that they could just use and sort of monetize and use for God's kingdom and also just for their living. And I sort of just went from job to job, learning on the go. And for the most part, it was administrative jobs. And it's okay, but it's not like my life's passion to do admin. In fact, it can get quite boring, at least for me. Eventually, what started happening is that there was a desire that sort of arose in me that wasn't necessarily very strongly there before, but it was somewhere in the background, and that was the desire to write. Now, when I tell you I don't have an education, like I don't have any experience writing, I've never taken a course, like it's not something that I've ever learned. It's just something that I feel maybe comes naturally to me and that I can do. In one of my previous jobs in marketing, I was a social media manager, and for our clients, I had to write blogs. So suddenly when you put words on paper and you realize, wait a second, like I wrote something that they think is decent enough to publish, maybe I can write, maybe I can create a story that people will actually read. Now the thing is this, that I was saying for at least, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, I don't know, I just want to write. I just want to write things. And I couldn't really convey to other people well what it is that I wanted to give, because I didn't know what I had to give, and I didn't know in what way I needed to give it. Was someone going to hire me full-time to write for them? Was I going to write a book? I didn't know. And so I literally had to just take it step by step. What eventually ended up happening is that when I was leaving that job, a friend of my sister's gave her a contact for me of someone who needed writing. Now, I didn't actually know that this was for an actual newspaper, because if I knew that, I would probably be like, haha, I'm not a good enough writer to write for any newspaper. They would never, ever, ever accept me. And so I just talked to this person, and then he's like, okay, send me your writing samples to this email, Israel Today. And I was freaked out because I'm like, oh shoot, when are they going to discover that I am not a writer? But either way, I was out of a job, and I realized that in order for me to even write for them, I needed to give them an invoice, meaning I need to open a small business. So I did. And then my previous boss from the marketing job said, hey, do you want to continue to write for us? And I said, yes. And so slowly, I started getting these little clients. And so I'm getting excited, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, maybe I could actually do this for a living. And I really felt God sort of like push me in that direction and say, go for it. So I had to believe in my God-given ability to write for a living, which is terrifying. Now remember, this is in January of 2022. I'm getting all excited. I'm thinking, okay, I can actually live off of this. And then the reality of business sort of hits you, and you realize that clients aren't always able to give you work. They don't always have something, they don't always need something. And so I came into it sort of confident and naive, thinking, oh, I can do this. And suddenly you're not making enough money and you are outside in the city living on your own. So what eventually started happening is that I started to go into debt. 1 month I would make this much, and then another month I would make this much, and the contrast was just so unstable. And yet I know that God is calling me to do this. I didn't feel that God was telling me, hey, just go get a little part-time job, something on the side, a side hustle. I really did pray into it. And now listen, I'm not a lazy person. Like at one point in life, I had 4 jobs that I rotated through just to make ends meet. So I'm not a lazy person. I just didn't feel like it was the right thing. I said to God, God, please help me. Like I'm living in the city on my own. I think and believe that you told me to do this. You're not guiding me to get another job. What should I do? And also I was really struggling with brain fog and feeling like a writer's block because of grief, which if you've been in grief, you probably know that that can really affect your ability to function or to work or to think creatively. And so I was really struggling, and I said, God, please, like I need more work, but I can't do more writing. Like please give me other things, like give me more things that have to do with video, because I was starting to dabble in that because I have a background in media. And so I was getting to the point where like the bank is sort of calling and being like, you need to cover this debt, you need to cover this debt. And you're also sort of like, I won't say you, I'll say me. I was ashamed because I thought, if God is with me, then why don't I have his blessing? Why isn't he just like bringing me clients or giving me jobs? And it was really frustrating because you feel like you're walking after God and you're doing what he asked of you, and yet you feel like he's not really helping you out. Like you're coming halfway, why don't you meet me halfway? And it felt almost like he wasn't doing that. And so I'm praying, and I'm like, God, what should I do? And I feel him tell me to do a Jericho walk. Now, if you're not familiar with the story of Joshua and the Israelites and the Walls of Jericho, then click somewhere over here down below for the link so that you can read about that story, because it's a spectacular story. Even if you're not a Christian, a believer in Jesus or Yeshua, you can just read about this just to get inspired that things are possible when you persevere. So just to recap the story of Joshua and the Walls of Jericho, God commanded them to march around the walls once early in the morning for 6 days. So every single day they went around once, and on the 7th day they went around 7 times and yelled and shouted and blasted their shofars, and the walls came down. So that is exactly what I did. I went to my bank, and for 6 days I walked around the building once, and then on the 7th day I walked around it 7 times. Now this whole time that I'm doing this round, I am praying. I'm thanking God for my bank account. I'm thanking God for clients. I'm blessing my clients. I'm thanking God that I can be generous. I'm thanking God for my apartment. Every single thing that I have in life, I am thanking him for. And I'm also declaring a breakthrough. After that, on the 7th day, I did my 7 rounds. I went up to the prayer tower on the 20th floor. There was no one there. I had this like jacket with me. I sort of put it over my mouth and I yelled, like I sort of like shouted like they did in the Bible. And to be honest, I was just as miserable as I was before. There was no difference physically. I didn't like immediately get some kind of call being like, hey, do you want this new job? Do you want this? For a while, nothing happened. And that can be discouraging. And so here's the thing. When you go through a test and you feel like God is not answering you, you can be very tempted to just be like, you know what? I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. You're not answering me, and I don't think that it's worth it, so I'm done. And yet I know that the nature of God is faithful, and that it's just a matter of time till he actually answers you in a way that is good for your life and not necessarily just how you want it. So I'm going through this test and I'm learning to bring all things to God and not to worry. And what eventually started happening is that people started wanting more work, and not writing work, but different types of work, like me hosting a TV show, or me creating YouTube videos for a new YouTube show for Israel Today, or me shooting a pilot for All Israel News. I even had sort of someone wanting to recommend me for another well-known YouTube channel as a hostess for something. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, what on earth is happening? I had zero opportunity before. People were not coming and looking for me to host anything, to do anything, and yet suddenly the doors were open and they're flinging wide open. And so sure, I still have a way to go till my bank account is balanced, but God is really providing. He's really and truly providing. And we're not just like throwing all this out to be like, oh, look how great I am. But it's like, wait a second, look how great God is. I would never in a million years, think that I would be able to do half or even a little tiny bit of what I'm doing now. And yet within a year, God is just bringing everything to me and being like, hey, you wanted to walk after me, let's do this. You said you want to serve me, here's your opportunity to serve. And so I'm saying all this for you to be encouraged together with me, because you have talents of your own and things that you are good at and things that you know to do or don't know to do yet that this world needs. This world needs you. They need your talent, they need your looks, they need the uniqueness of who you are in whatever thing that is. It can be as a wedding organizer or event organizer. It can be a chef. It can be a teacher. And God really does want to give us success in what we do. And I honestly think that success looks different in different times in life and in different situations, even if the results aren't coming in quick or the results don't come at all. If we do things based on what we think the results should be, then it could be very easy to quit. And so this is an encouragement to everyone listening today, that if you are going through that stretch, that test of finances and your calling and feeling like, God, I just don't know if I can do this, I pray right now in the Holy Spirit that He would give you the wisdom what to do and the grace to wait if He still wants you in it. Because if this is a test, I'm telling you, you can pass it. It's also really, really smart to have godly people with good fruit in their life that give good advice that can help you navigate this time, because it's not easy. I think one of the most pressuring things in life is really truly finances, because the world is built on it. Like, if you don't have finances, you can't eat. If you don't have finances, you don't have a roof over your head, you can't feed your children. It can feel very, very scary. And so I'm here just to say, if you are going through this test, just keep holding on. Go through the test with as much grace and maturity as you can, with all the prayer and surrender in the world, and you will see results eventually. Just because something doesn't happen immediately, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. You need to be guided by God to whatever He is guiding you to do, so that you can expect the right results from Him. And also let go of the expectation of how those results look like, because you don't know, it could be way better than what you ever thought. And so I'm excited for all the new things in my life that are happening now, and I would love to share it with you. So I might put all these things on my Instagram if I'm going and shooting somewhere, because some of it is showing Israel, some of it is on matters of faith, and I think all those things are super exciting, and I am excited to share it with you. I've enjoyed my time with you guys. I hope that you've enjoyed this too. Comment down below about what you think about finances, if you've ever gone through a stretching time and how God came through for you. And if you're new here, then feel free to subscribe, hit the notification bell. And if you're not new here, then welcome back. I'm so appreciative of you. And I will see you guys in a vlog very, very soon.